Hello, my name is Kelly, and as you may already know, I am a direct interviewer for iTutorGroup. Today's video is going to be talking about the 11 criteria interviewers use when assessing your interview with us, particularly when assessing the demo portion. So, first of all, let's check out the list. Okay, number one on our list, overall presentation. This one is super important as there are lots of things we look for. Keep in mind, this is a real job interview and you need to behave accordingly. Be on time for your interview. Don't log in 3 seconds before your interview and expect all of your equipment and everything to be set up and working on the start time. It's disrespectful to your interviewer and to the company if you can't show up on time for your interview. Next, make sure you're dressed appropriately. It doesn't necessarily need to be a red top, but make sure you're wearing something presentable, not something you pulled out of the laundry 2 seconds ago. Make sure that your teaching environment is well lit with not a lot of shadows, and make sure that your face can be seen in its entirety. Make sure that your environment is quiet. If your child is screaming in the background or your dog is barking at the door, it does not give a good impression to the company, as you are expected to have a quiet environment while teaching. And make sure your setup is appropriate. Do not sit like this at the camera because you need to be seen on camera appropriately for both answering your questions and for your demo. And when you're teaching, your student is going to want to see your face, your hands, and whatnot. So make sure you have a good setup. And last but not least, have an appropriate background. It's perfectly fine if yours is not decorated or set up yet for teaching. It's not expected to be, but you want it to be professional and presentable. A plain wall is fine. Don't set up somewhere where you're going to have your family walking behind you or where you've got a pile of dirty laundry behind you. Make it look good. Okay, number 2 on our list is modeling. This one is pretty straightforward. It's all about your ability to demonstrate to your students any new words or sentences that they're going to be learning today. What comes along with that, and where a lot of people run into trouble, is using the appropriate language for the student you're teaching. For example, in the iTutorGroup demo lesson, one of them is mom and dad. You can assume if you are teaching a child the words mom and dad, they very likely will not understand most of the words you are using to do so. So keep your language very, very, very simple and very, very, very minimal. You do not need to explain anything at this level. So don't come in teaching, starting to ask a lot of questions that the student isn't going to understand. Do you love your mom? What is your mom's name? Does your mom cook for you? If a student's learning the word mom, they certainly aren't going to know the word cook or any of those other words in those sentences. So drop those from your vocabulary for the purpose of teaching a student at this level. Instead, keep your language minimal and focus on just teaching the target words and the target sentences that you are given to teach. The whole goal is that your student can say, repeat, produce the language. In this case, as the example I gave, you are teaching mom, you are teaching dad, you are teaching 2 sentences with those words. So you need to be able to model those, mom, and get your student to repeat. Same with the sentences. She is my mom. Get your student to repeat. So modeling is all about pronouncing the words, getting your student to follow along with you, and doing so with appropriate language. This brings us to number 3 on our list, TPR. TPR is total physical response. In layman's terms, using your body to communicate. One of the biggest mistakes I see in interviews is the teacher using a lot of verbal instructions. Don't do it. Forget the phrase, can you say, or repeat after me. Do not use them. Instead, use nonverbal cues. So, in the case that I was talking about before, if I were teaching the sentence, she is my mom, I would do so like this. She is my mom. Yeah, good. So, point to your mouth when you want your student focusing on your pronunciation. Some teachers will count words, which is what I was doing, to let the student know how many words I'm expecting them to repeat back to me. But most importantly, one that is absolutely universal and that will replace your verbal instruction of repeat or can you say is cupping your ear. This one is a big one, and we want to see you using stuff like that when you are teaching. And that's called instructional TPR. You are, of course, welcome to use educational TPR as well. For example, if you're teaching the second slide, stand up and sit down, educational TPR would indicate you do it yourself to demonstrate to the student exactly what they're doing. So TPR is one that gets missed a lot in interviews, but it is arguably one of the most important ESL teaching techniques. Number 4, speed. So this one again is pretty straightforward. This is all about your speaking speed. And you need to make sure you are speaking at an appropriate pace for whatever level you're teaching. In the example that I've been referring to, mom and dad, I've already mentioned that you are teaching a very beginner. In that case, you need to slow your speech right on down, much like what I am doing now. For example, if I were introducing myself to a beginner, hello, my name is Teacher Kelly. What's your name? Okay, so you'll notice there I spoke very slowly, very deliberately, and very carefully with my pronunciation so that the student had a chance to understand each and every word I said. If you are teaching a beginner and you start your lesson by going, hello, my name is Teacher Kelly, what's your name? The student is not going to have a clue what you're saying. You have to adjust your speaking speed to match your student's level. And number 5, composure. Again, another simple one. So all this is meaning is that you can keep yourself calm, cool, and collected no matter what happens in your interview. Lots of times in interviews, stuff goes wrong. Maybe the connection drops out. Maybe there's an IT issue with a camera or a headset. Maybe you drop your prop on the floor. Anything can happen. We want to see that you can maintain your composure throughout that. So not panicking, not cursing, nothing like that. So again, number 5 is super straightforward. Just keep your stuff together. Number 6, commendation. So this one is just about giving praise to your students. So during the demo, we want to hear you saying, good job, well done, awesome, you get a star. Things like that are really encouraging for your students, and we want to know that you're going to bring that into the classroom to keep your students motivated. Okay, we're up to number 7, and this one is my favorite, props. So props are definitely encouraged when teaching online. Of course, you always have the slides there for you, but it is a really good idea to have other visual aids to help your students. So in the example that I've been using all along, the mom and dad slide that we use in the demo, it could be very useful to have flashcards for mom and dad, to have a family photo or a drawing of a family where you can teach mom and dad. In general, it's a good idea to have other props too. You could have something simple to engage kids. Hello. You can have props to ask questions. How are you? Or you can have props for encouragement. Star. So lots of things that you can have, but it is a good idea to have something, even if it's something simple, for your demo as well, to show that you've put in a little bit of effort preparing. So you don't necessarily have to have all of that, but they're all just ideas for things that you can chuck into your demo to help you pass. Number 8 is a rather easy one. It is accent. So it's not really something that you can work on or change. In order to apply for iTutorGroup, you do need to have a neutral accent, which means you need to be easily understood by potential students, and you need to demonstrate fluency in English. So this is observed by us in both the questions and the demo. So you need to be super careful when answering questions to make sure that you are not making grammatical mistakes, that you're answering in clear, correct, complete sentences, and that during your demo you are correctly enunciating the words that you're teaching. And now we come to number 9, creativity. So this one is all about letting your personality shine through in your demo lesson. Now, the example that we've been using, mom and dad, you're only teaching one slide, literally just a couple of minutes. So there's not a lot of time to be, over the top with it. But you can definitely let your personality shine through. Try to do different things in your demo to make yourself stand out. For example, we already have talked about things like modeling, getting your students to repeat. Of course, it's always a good idea to mix it up a bit. So if I'm teaching the word mom, mom, I may then want to vary my voice a little bit. Mom, mom! Do something to show that you can be creative with your teaching, whether it's changing your voice, maybe it's putting some dance moves in, maybe it's using a prop. Who is this, sheep? Dad! It could be anything, but come up with something creative to kind of make yourself stand out. If you're copying exactly what you see in lots of YouTube video examples or other places, it's not really being true to yourself. So let us truly see who you are as a teacher. Number 10, we are nearly at the end. So number 10 is classroom management. We actually kind of look at this one in 2 ways. So one of the questions you get in your interview will be a scenario about something that's going on in the classroom, and we want to see how you think to handle certain situations. For example, we may ask, what would you do if a student's not paying attention? Okay, so we want to see what ideas you come up with. There may not necessarily be a right or wrong answer, but we do want to see that you can think on your feet and manage what's going on in your online classroom. You may also have a situation where your interviewer does something during your interview. Maybe your interviewer decides to start playing with a toy while you're teaching. Okay. We want to see that you can creatively manipulate that and get your student back into their lesson. It's all about engaging with your student and hopefully keeping them on track. Okay, last but not least, we come to the end. Number 11, energy. Okay, so iTutorGroup does not require you to be over the top with energy. But that being said, we want to see that you are actually excited to be teaching with us. We don't want you coming into the classroom with students depressed to be there. So try in your demo and your interview to smile and act like you're enjoying being there. I know interviews are not fun, and demos definitely aren't. But come with a smile on your face, show that you have good energy, good enthusiasm, and that you're super excited to join the team. Particularly for your demo, smile the entire time. Be super encouraging, as we've talked about before, and have fun with it. I know teaching an adult pretending to be a child can be nerve-wracking, but forget that and just show us that you want to be there. Energy is super important, and if you talk to us like you have the personality of a wet rag, hello, I'm Teacher Kelly. It just doesn't give us the impression that you want to work with us. So arguably, this is one of the most important, and it could absolutely ruin all the other effort you put in if you do come in with that kind of attitude. So show up, smile, and show us that you want to be there. Okay, so that is everything. And now you know the 11 criteria we use to evaluate your interview with us. If you're still looking to apply or if you'd like to interview with me, you'll find my link below. Also, have a look at my channel and you'll see other resources like an actual interview that you can use to help you prepare. Thanks and look forward to seeing you again soon.